Let me ask you a simple question. Is reality the same for everyone? Imagine two people looking at the same object but describing it differently. Who is right? Now imagine this. What if both are right, but only partially? This is where Jain philosophy begins. It does not say reality is simple. It says reality is complex, multi-layered and depend on perspective. In this video, we will explore one of the most fascinating philosophical systems ever developed, where truth is not one-sided, but many-sided. In Jainism, reality is called Sat, which simply means that which exists. But there is the interesting part. Anything that exists must have three qualities. First, Utpad. It is constantly being created or changing. Second, Vaya. It is constantly being destroyed or disappearing. And third, Dravya. It still has something permanent. Let's take an example. Think about a river. The water is always flowing, always changing. That is creation and destruction. But we still call it the same river, right? That is permanence. So Jainism says reality is both changing and constant at the same time. Now let's go deeper. Everything that exists is called Dravya or substance. Jainism identifies 6 types of substance in the universe. First, Jīva, the soul. Second, Pudgala, matter. Third, Dharma, the medium that allows motion. Fourth, Adharma, the medium that allows rest. Fifth, Akas, means space. And sixth, Kala, time. Now don't confuse Dharma here with religion. It is simply means the condition that allows movement, like water helps fish swim. So everything you see, your body, air, space, time, all belong to those 6 substances. Every substance has Guṇa, which means qualities. Those are permanent characteristics that always stay with the substance. For example, think about gold. No matter what shape it is take, a ring, a necklace or a chain, it always has certain qualities like color, weight and shine. You cannot separate those qualities from gold. So Jainism says substance and their qualities always exist together. Now come Paryāya, which means mode or state. While the substance stays the same, its form keeps changing. Let's take a simple example. Water. Water can become ice or steam. The form changes, but the substance remains the same. Or think about a human life. Childhood, adulthood, old age. The person is the same, but the state are constantly changing. So Jainism explains reality as a combination of permanence and change. Now let's talk about Jīva, the soul. In Jainism, every living being has a soul, not just human, but animals, plants, even microorganisms. The key feature of the soul is consciousness. It can feel, think, and experience. But here is the problem. The soul gets trapped in karma, like dust sticking to a surface. Because of this, it goes through cycle of birth and death. But Jaina philosophy also gives hope. The soul can become free. It can achieve moksha or liberation. Everything that is not consciousness is called Ajīva. This includes matter, space, time, motion, and rest. For example, your body is matter. Your movement happens through motion, and you exist within space and time. Ajīva does not have consciousness, but it interacts with the soul and affects life deeply. Now we come to one of the most powerful ideas, Anekāntavāda. It means many-sided reality. Let me explain with a famous example. Imagine blind man touching an elephant. One touches the leg and says, "It is like a pillar." Another touches the trunk and says, "It is like a snake." Another feels the ear and says, "It is like a fan." Are they wrong? No, but they are incomplete. Each one is seeing only one part of the truth. Jainism says reality is not too complex to be understood from just one angle. So we must accept multiple perspectives. Building on this idea, Jainism introduced Syadvada. The word Syad means maybe or from a certain perspective. This teaches us that every statement is conditional. Instead of saying this is absolutely true, we say this is true from a certain point of view. This creates flexibility in thinking and avoid rigid extreme belief. Let's understand one of the most fascinating ideas in Jain philosophy, the Sevenfold Logic, also known as Syadvada. At first, it may sound complex, but the idea is actually very simple. Jainism says no statement is completely true and no statement is completely false. Everything depends on perspective. That is why the word Sat is used, which means maybe or from certain point of view. Now let's understand this with simple example. A clay pot. First, Sat Asti, meaning in some way it exists. Yes, the pot exists right now in front of you. Second, Sat Nasti. In some way, it does not exist. Before it was made, the pot did not exist. So both statements are true, but from different time perspective. Third, Sat Asti Nasti. It exists and does not exist. Right now it exists, but earlier it did not. Fourth, Sat Avyakta. It is indescribable. Why? Because reality is constantly changing and cannot be fully captured in one statement. Fifth, Sat Asti Avyaktam. It exists but cannot be fully described. Sixth, Sat Nasti Avyaktam. It does not exist from another angle and it still indescribable. And finally, Sat Asti Nasti Avyaktam. It exists, it does not exist, and it beyond complete description. So what does this teach us? It teaches to think beyond yes and no. It teaches that truth is not black and white. It is layered, complex, and multidimensional. In real life, this idea is powerful. Think about a person. They are a child in the past, an adult now, and will changing in the future. So are you the same person or a different person? The answer is both. It depends on how you look at it. Sevenfold Logic teaches something very important. Be open-minded, be flexible in your thinking, and remember, your perspective may be true, but it is never the whole truth. Nayavāda means partial viewpoint. It tells us that every statement we make captures only a part of reality. Think of it like a camera. Each angle shows a different view of the same object. No single angle is complete. So to understand truth, we must combine multiple viewpoints. Now let's answer a big question. How do we know what is true? Jainism explains 5 types of knowledge. Mati, knowledge from senses, like seeing or hearing. Sruta, knowledge from learning or scripture. Avadhi, special insight beyond normal senses. Manaha Paryāya, understanding other thought. And Kebal Gyan, perfect infinite knowledge. This is the highest state where the soul knows everything completely. Let's make this simple. When you see fire, that is Mati. When you read about fire, that is Sruta. If someone has deeper insight, that is Avadhi. If they can read minds, that is Mana Paryāya. And complete knowledge, that is Kaivalya. So, knowledge grows step by step. So, what have we learned? Jainism teaches that reality is complex. It is both permanent and changing. Truth is not one-sided. It has many perspectives. And knowledge is a journey from simple perception to complete understanding. The biggest lesson: be open-minded, be humble in your thinking, and always remember, what you say may be true, but not the whole truth.